Well, better than bad things. So thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for your leadership. I apologize for being late. We are having an incredible hearing over in the Commerce Committee on the whistleblowers, allegations, and statements about Facebook. And I was thinking as I sat there, despite all of the hearings that we've had in this committee, it may be that one person is going to be the catalyst to finally passing bills, not just in the privacy area, which she herself said isn't enough, but in transparency for algorithms and also consolidation, which was specifically mentioned with the dominant platforms. Ms. Monaco, I know we're going to have a confirmation hearing on your new nominee for antitrust, but I only lead with that because the violent content is a part of this story as well. I would start with the fact that this has always been a bipartisan reauthorization so many times in the past. This bill is so important. And in your view, has the pandemic, where we saw in my own state intimate partner violence rose more than 40% in 2020, has the pandemic increased the urgency to reauthorize VAWA?
Absolutely, it has, Senator. And I have been remarking this morning on my discussions with advocates and service providers, the people on the ground doing the work that is so urgently funded by the Violence Against Women Act. They have told me that the demand for services is outpacing the ability to provide those services, and it's only become more so as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, which stands to reason. People are at home and really, with their abuser in many respects, and that is a horrible situation that we need to rectify.
Okay. For many years, I've worked with Senator Cornyn on the Abby Hunold Act, something that Senator Franken was originally involved in introducing. And this bill would encourage law enforcement's use of trauma-informed techniques when responding to sexual assault crimes to avoid re-traumatizing the victim. Can you speak to why it's important that law enforcement uses these types of techniques? This bill was actually included in the House-passed reauthorization of VAWA.
Thank you, Senator, and thank you for your leadership on that issue. It is such an exceptionally important part of the Violence Against Women Act and our approach to these issues, understanding from the survivor's perspective what they're going through when they are interviewed by law enforcement, when they interact with the court system, when they go to get their medical exam as a result of a sexual assault that they have suffered. Making sure that at every step along the way, the individuals they are encountering understand the trauma that the victim and survivor has encountered so that they can take appropriate steps, so they can recognize and have their services be, as we say, trauma-informed, where the victim's experience is at the center of the training that service providers provide.
Thank you. I want to move on to something really important to me, and that is the fact that every year more than 600 American women are killed with a gun by intimate partners, and half of the women killed by intimate partners are killed by dating partners. When Senator Leahy was chairing this committee, we had a hearing on what's called the boyfriend loophole, which always sounds too positive to me, actually, for what it means. And a conservative witness, actually all the Republican witnesses, I remember Senator Grassley being at this hearing as well, supported changing this situation. As they said, dangerous boyfriends can be just as scary, the sheriff from Racine County, Wisconsin said, as dangerous husbands. They hit just as hard and they fire their guns with the same deadly force. Yet federal law only prohibits domestic abusers from buying a gun if they are currently or formerly married, if they have ever lived together, if they had a child with the victim. Do you agree that we should update the law, and I know you addressed this earlier, in order to protect dating partners in the same way we protect married partners?
Absolutely, Senator. The danger and the violence and the risk to the women who are suffering and who are killed, we know that women are more likely to be killed if the abuser has a gun, and it's no different if that abuser is in a dating relationship than if they are a spouse.
And I also know when the Congress first took action to prohibit convicted domestic abusers, this was on a bipartisan basis, from buying or owning a gun, the restriction applied to people who, of course, already had convictions on the books. They didn't wipe the slate clean. Do you agree that fully addressing the threat means that abusive dating partners with prior domestic violence convictions should be prohibited from buying a gun? That's what's in the bill now, the bill that, by the way, passed the House with dozens of Republican votes.
I think it's exceptionally important that we address this loophole. The individuals, as you said, are people who would be affected by this, are people who've been adjudicated, who've been convicted and found to be a threat by a court. That's the issue that we have to address, and because failure to close this loophole is resulting in too many women dying.
Really appreciate your leadership and your testimony today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Senator Klobuchar. Senator Hawley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Monaco, I want to come back to this extraordinary